Snow. It happens. Not much drying in the kiln. Last week, Christmas and New Year's, we were in the 60s, and now it's below freezing. It's a good day for the shop. Bert and Ernie are resting comfortably on a bunch of straw, so they're fine, in case you were wondering. But today, I am going to cut some material for these. I keep my eyes out for these cast iron benches. And what I do is I don't make a bench out of them, I make a chair out of them, so I shorten them significantly. There's quite a difference in the ones you'll find. Quite often, people think they're worth a lot more than they are. This one's quite nice. There's a lot of detail in the casting. There's a little lion's head. All castings are not the same. Some things to look out for. Look out for a nice casting. If you're just buying the ends, if you find someone that's just selling the ends and not a bench, make sure it is a matched bench or a matched pair, because the holes don't line up from set to set. And this is a nice one, but this is also something to look out for. This is more of a child's seat. And I've got a adult one here. The child's seat is about the same height, but the back is much further forward. And I get them, they're usually covered in paint. I'll get them sandblasted and powder coated. I usually use black walnut because it looks really nice with the black powder coating. I've got another one here. It's another child's one, or children, kid, I don't know. And that's something else to look for, is look for damage in the tabs or where the bolts go through. This one's okay. It's not very ornate. It'll be simple. Another child size. And then here's the adult one. Ooh. Not too ornate, pretty simple. I like the way this one had a bit of a patina to it. Some green showing through here, so I'm not going to powder coat it. I don't powder coat everything. Let me compare here. The footprint is about the same, but the back is a couple inches further forward on the child one, but nearly the same height. So, I'm going to cut a bunch of black walnut. This one will be pretty straightforward. The sizes are pretty consistent from each of the spaces. This one will be a bit more difficult. The consistency of the holes, the spacing is quite different on this one. I don't want to mix it up too much, so I'm going to probably only have two different sizes of the walnut pieces that I'm going to cut. One of the first ones I found was also probably the nicest one I've ever found, and I'll put some photos of it up. Very nice detail. I don't know if it was a reproduction or not. Who cares? It looked really nice. All right, so I'm going to start cutting up some walnut for just enough to do two of these. But I've pulled both ends up because the adult chairs, I cut the pieces 2 feet in length. And that's not going to work for a child's chair because it'll look out of proportion. So I've got this one just kind of rigged up here. So that's about 17 inches. I can't go 17 inches. It's either got to be 16 or 18. I gotta keep the numbers even. 18 it is. change of plan. Uh, I have enough black walnut offcuts to do one chair, but not the other. And I looked over and I see that I have a bunch of cherry offcuts as well. So I have enough to do both chairs just with offcuts. So I'm going to do cherry on one and black walnut on the other. So that's all the cherry done. I still need to do the walnut and I need to put the radius on. And I'm going to start with a 1/4" radius on everything. And we'll see how that looks. And I might bump it up to say a 1/2" radius on the walnut pieces because they're going to be a bit thicker. All right, I've got the 1/4" round on the cherry. I didn't do the walnut yet. I think I'll just concentrate on getting the cherry done. So I want to put a finish on it tonight, and then tomorrow I can do the walnut. Alrighty, good morning. I put the other chair away. It's pretty straightforward. This other chair that's going to have the walnut is a bit more difficult. Now the slats on the walnut chair are 2.5 inches, but then there's these radiuses here, and I'm going to cut it a bit shorter. I think I'm going to go 2 inches on this slat and this slat. That will help ease this transition. So these two pieces, this one and the one that's going to go here, are going to be 2 inches each with a full kind of bullnose radius. And then everything else will be 2.5, and then I'll just duplicate these two here for the top pieces as well. My McMaster car order came in last night. I got the 1/4" rod. This morning I mocked up both chairs, and there used to be a piece of metal that went between the two ends of the chair. I think it was probably more important when it was a bench because the distance would have been further. Now I'm not sure it's necessary, but I still just put it in there. So I measured it out, I've cut it, and I've ran a die down the one end, and now I'm just going to flip it over and run the die down the opposite end. Okay, a little thread cutting oil on this. Neatness does not count here. It's assembly day. I knocked out the other chair this morning. It was easy, went together very well. This one I knew was going to be a bit more difficult, so I'm working on that now. I'm going to try and put this bottom piece in first because it wobbles. I put the rod in very first because there's nuts on the inside, and the only way to get that on there is to put that in first. So that's in. I'm going to put this very first one in and just tighten up the chair. I'll straighten it up and then tighten those bolts. I'm just center drilling it, this little center finding drill bit works pretty good. I go through the back just to mark it, then I take it over to the drill press and drill a 1/4 inch hole. Remember when I said I wanted to keep these ones and these ones the same? Well, that's not going to happen. I'm going to have to modify these two a little bit and this one a little bit. I'm going to take a 1/2 inch off this one and a 1/4 inch off of these two to start with, and see if I can get the spacing to be a bit better. Well, that's kind of it. I just need to refinish these, and so I'll do that tonight and finish it up in the morning. I finished off the chair this morning. It didn't take very long. It looks really good. In fact, they both look very good. I like this one. The cherry looks really good with the black powder coating. It's a very simple and clean chair. I like it. It's a bit smaller than this one. And to be honest, I don't know if they're kids or if they're ladies or people who are just smaller. I don't know. But they're kind of small. But I do fit. Yeah, cherry looks good. And then the walnut one also looks good. It's a bit more detail in it. This is not a difficult project. I think most people are capable of doing it. I think the hardest part is finding a couple of good candidates for chairs. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe.